Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, we have some news concerning SNAP benefits here in 6 states today. In a major shift to federal food assistance policy, 6 states, including Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, and Utah, have received approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to prohibit the purchase of soda, candy, and certain snack foods using SNAP benefits, effective January 1st, 2026. The move comes after years of debate over whether taxpayer-funded benefits should be used to buy what many people would consider to be junk food. Now, under the approved waivers, these states will implement new restrictions on SNAP-eligible items, marking the first time that federal government has allowed such sweeping dietary limitations under the program. So what's going to be changing here? Well, we're going to see some shifts away from EBT cards being able to buy sugar-sweetened soft drinks, candy, and chocolate, as well as a range of processed snack foods, including chips, cakes, and certain bakery items as well. Geez, let's talk about it here. This is a big shift here. Obviously, for a long time, you couldn't really buy things like alcohol, tobacco, etc. So now they're sort of expanding that to junk food. And I think that a lot of this comes from the shift with RFK taking, office in his role. And, he's, very much against the idea that the government should be funding a lot of these foods which would contribute to our health epidemic. And so he now wants to see people probably prioritize a little bit more healthier options like tea or water, or sparkling water, things such as that, as opposed to just going with the soft drinks. He probably wants to see people try a granola bar instead of, candy or chocolate. Right? He probably wants to see people avoid some high processed foods like chips, snack cakes, etc. And instead maybe try to have something else, like maybe some whole fruit, for instance, right? But the fact of the matter is here, we're trying to shift away from junk food. And so what's the take on it? What's the take? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Well, I think it's a mix of both, right? Well, obviously you don't want somebody just buying junk food, right? Because, obviously there could be some health issues there, especially if it's done over the long term. And, certain foods, like, let's be honest, they're just not good for you, right? Like Oreos, for instance, right? But should we ban them out all right together if you are on SNAP benefits? Well, I would argue that maybe we should have some form of restriction so we can kind of meet in the middle, right? So maybe only every once in a while you're eligible for some of those items as opposed to or like each cycle, each reload of the card, as opposed to only being able to never buy them in its totality. But it's an interesting policy here. So obviously America's had some health issues, and I think it's trying to remedy that as best we can. I know he's been in a lot of initiatives here, and some states are following suit with some of the things that he's been pushing for. But a lot of things like banning dyes, for instance, like trying to look to ban things like Red 40 and whatnot. So that can be good, but then he might take a little bit too far, which is something that we got to make sure that it's less reactionary and more well thought out, right? Like if somebody wants to buy a cake for their birthday, for example, it's like, well, should we ban them from doing that? Well, probably not, right? Let them have a little bit of life in them, right? It's not going to kill us, right? As the taxpayers, right? They can sacrifice the orange in exchange for an Oreo every once in a while, but it's an interesting policy debate. So. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to bring you guys the news, but let me know what you guys think down below. In the comments, please be sure to subscribe. We're almost at 300 subscribers, almost hit our goal, which is going to be awesome, by the way. Thank you so much. But it really does help out that algorithm when you hit that subscribe button. So thank you guys for watching. Always make up your own mind, do your own research, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day.